Hello, welcome to yesterday's Airlines. In today's video, I'm going to be unboxing a new arrival from jcwings, this lovely little Air New Zealand ATR-72 600. And JC had an interesting year. I didn't seem to get many jcwings models in 2023, but all of a sudden at the beginning of 2024, several have been arriving from the 2023 batch. Typical, I guess, for JC. But ATRs, I don't think they get enough love, to be honest, and jcwings and Gemini are the only people with a mold for the type. So yeah, I thought I'd unbox this one on video and have a look at my other ATRs as well, and then put it up in with the rest of my Air New Zealand collection. So stay tuned to have a look at this model and see her put in her place with the rest of the Koru fleet. The aircraft itself, as you can see, comes in this lovely little black box. So nice, good sized box. You can see the reg of the aircraft is ZKMVX. And unlike a lot of jcwings releases, it doesn't suggest that they're going to be making another version. So that's just going to be the one of these. But it's not the first Air New Zealand ATR that JC has made, as we will see later in the video. So get to that in a second. But obviously, as always, chuck a like on the video if you enjoy the content. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that, everyone. Thank you very much. Check me out on Instagram at Airlines and Facebook too. And yesterdaysairlines.com. It's the place for tons of material about 400 scale. If you want to know what's going on, that's the place to find out. But now let's get on and unbox this beauty and see what she looks like. Okay, actually, before I unbox the new model, I just wanted to quickly look at my existing ATR collection. They're all using the same mold. These are a mixture of Gemini and jcwings releases. And one of them, I think, is also technically for MP4 models. That's that wings one in the background. As you can see, I've got a 5 here. I've also got a couple more Kiwis. We'll see later in the video. But we've got China Southern. We've got a couple of Atlantic Southeasts, Wings, and Garuda Indonesia Explorer, and they're all really nice little models. You can see also the different versions of the ATR, most obviously by looking at the number of propellers. This earliest versions is the Delta ones in the front here, which you can see have only got 4 props on their engines, and the later versions, ATR-72 500s and 600s, have got these 6-bladed propellers. But these are a really nice quintet and illustrate very nicely, I think, that the mould is a really nice little regional mould and one of jcwings' finest moulds, which has been used, yeah, not too badly over the years. I think there have been just around 51, 52 different releases of ATR-72s from those two brands to date. Obviously, there was a disastrous Aer Lingus one, I think that was last year, where they printed the cockpit windows down around the nose cone. That was shocking, but these ones all look really nice. So I just wanted to illustrate the ATR-72s that are in my fleet. I've also got some ATR-42s as well, but have to look at those another time. But now let's get on and unbox the newest example, this Air New Zealand version. And here we are, ZKMVX, wearing the current Air New Zealand scheme, the white and black version. As you can see, the mould looks pretty good. There are a couple of points that could be improved. It does tend to sit a little bit nose down, and the nose gear doors are a little bit big as well. Relatively small problem. Perhaps would be better if it was just sitting up a bit like that. Also, I note that these large aerials on the top look a little bit funny. Now, the ATR does have quite unusual square aerials, but not quite this shape. But interestingly, none of my other ATRs have aerials quite like this. Most of them don't have aerials at all, actually, but one or two do. I'll have a look at those ones later on. You'll see the different shape. But those perhaps could be slightly nicer than they are. But overall, this is looking pretty nice, and it is a very fine little mold. And as you can see, it's got some really nice undercarriage, excellent props, really good detail. Now, Air New Zealand is obviously an airline reasonably close to my heart because I lived in New Zealand for 16 years. And these little ATRs were aircraft I saw quite regularly. I did used to fly inside New Zealand quite a bit, so I've flown quite a lot of the Air New Zealand regional partners. but only 2 ATRs actually. I flew once to Palmerston North on an ATR-72, and I once flew between Christchurch and Dunedin on an ATR-72 as well. And those were both operated by Mount Cook Airlines, which is no more. It was Mount Cook that received the original Air New Zealand ATRs and operated as Air New Zealand Link, but I think it was 2019 when the Mount Cook was merged into the mainline operation. So these aircraft now operate purely with Air New Zealand, and these in the MV range are ATR-72 600s, not the ATR-72 500s that they were operating before. So the ones I flew were aircraft no longer with Air New Zealand. These ones are much newer, and I think this aircraft was delivered pretty recently, I think maybe 2019. So they're still going strong, these very young ATRs at Air New Zealand, and I believe they've got 29 of these, and they're still taking deliveries. I think they're still got a couple on back order, and it wouldn't surprise me to see the Dash 8 fleet replaced by ATRs at some point in the future. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get on to the turntable. Here she's going around the turntable. You can see a lovely looking model, and I wasn't an enormous fan of the black and white Air New Zealand scheme. It always slightly annoyed me how much New Zealand identified with the All Blacks, but I have to say it's grown on me, and the ATRs here are wearing this version of the scheme really nicely, so can't say this isn't an attractive looking aircraft. And JC have done a good job on the model. As I say, some modification to the nose and perhaps a change to those aerials, but otherwise overall this is an excellent little ATR, and they certainly haven't got the cockpit windows in the wrong place, so that's good to see. So I just recently moved my Oceania cabinet up a little bit, and it sits now right next to my desk, and as you can see we've got a substantial amount of Oceania Airlines, Air New Zealand and so on. Beneath them we've got the Aussies, and I've got a spot up here on the Air New Zealand shelf, one of the few remaining spots where we're going to be placing this ATR. There we go. Now she sits just ahead of the A321neo released by ngmodels not long ago, and next to a couple of other jcwings ATRs in the colours of Air New Zealand and Mount Cook. So we've got this black version, which is actually quite an old release, and next to them we've got the classic Pacific Wave, and this one is one of the earlier ATR-72 500s, the type that I flew on. And notice also here that the aerials have a more tapered shape. Neither of them are 100% accurate. The aerials on the ATR are not tapered like this, but they're certainly also not completely square like the aerials on the latest edition. But all three of those together make a lovely trio of Kiwi ATRs. There is a fourth version floating about, which I did actually used to own, and annoyingly, for some reason, I sold it back when it wasn't a focus for me to be getting Air New Zealand. But as you can see, I gave up on that, and I have been getting more recent Air New Zealand. So we've got a pair of 787s, a pair of 777s, and a pair of A321s, all wearing the current versions of the scheme, the All Blacks version and the black and white. And yeah, I'm really liking the look of those. There's a little bit of space, maybe I could slip in one or two more, but overall very pleased with my current Air New Zealand fleet there, and plenty of classic Air New Zealand as you move down the shelf, obviously. But this video is about the ATR, and I have to say, really pleased to add this model to my collection. It goes really nicely with the other pair to make a lovely trio of ATR-72s. Lots of potential for this little mold. Doesn't get used that much, but there have been a few recently from JC, including a Thai one upcoming. Not one I'll get, but will be nice anyway. Cool, well thank you very much for watching everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this little look at unboxing this lovely little prop and how she fits into my Air New Zealand fleet. I'll see you next time, but that's it for now from yesterday's Airlines. Thanks very much.